This is the Wait For It podcast.
The World is My Burrito and the Wait For It podcast are very excited to collaborate on this interview for a special project you should be keeping an eye out for.
As the war wages on between Kaijus and Kingslayer Mechs in New Honolulu City, Marcus Walker is forced into hiding under the watchful eye of his authoritative family, determined to protect him. This unexpected turn of events forces Marcus to confront the relentless dangers of his choices head-on as the sinister forces dredge up old secrets from his bloodline's past and threaten his future.
This is a story told through a 48-page comic that aims to blend 90s anime and Japanese manga with American comics and Saturday morning cartoons.
So, are you ready? The time has come for us to talk about Marcus Walker, Kingslayer Protocol.
Hey everyone, I'm your co-host Phil Barrera, aka Phil the Filipino.
And I am your other co-host, Kory T from The World is My Burrito.
And make it 3 for this episode. I'm your other co-host, Mr. Eric Almighty, and we are tag teaming this episode together to talk to the mind behind this amazing project that is launching on Kickstarter on March 4th. From humble beginnings as a track and field coach to an internship that pivoted his journey into the entertainment world, our guest today is a seasoned comic book and genre expert from his time at industry giants like the United Talent Agency and Disney. We had him on the Wait For It podcast last year to talk about Frost Road, and in 2025, he helped develop, launch, and market 4 different indie publishing Kickstarters, raising over $87,000 collectively. Now making his writing debut. If you didn't know the lore about this guy, you just got it all in a nutshell. We welcome in the co-creator and writer of Marcus Walker, Kingslayer Protocol, Chris Yates. Chris, how are you doing? And I hope I didn't make you blush too much with that intro. I'm sorry.
That was wonderful. Oh my gosh. Guys, thank you so much. I remember from last year, you guys do your homework, but you have already surpassed it already. To be internship and track and field coach, the lore you guys have already been digging up. Thank you. That was wonderful intro. I'm doing great. Thanks.
Yeah, you're still early on as of this recording. We're recording a little bit earlier than the March 4th date. But you did one interview that I was able to check out so far, went back to the Frost Road one, and then, of course, just everything that you've told us already and shared about the project is just so exciting. And we got a lot to talk about and a lot to ask you about. We've already given a little bit of an introduction into the project and a little introduction into Kory, who you haven't gotten to collab with yet. So, Kory, I'm actually going to throw the first question to you. As somebody who listened to the previous episode, got caught up to speed, and is ready for this amazing project.
Yeah, so my question for you, man, listening to your previous guest spot on the Wait For It, you really sounded like the collector, Marvel's collector, where you're like going around and finding all of these unique or amazing creators and pushing their work. So now that you're writing your own IP, what's it like being on this end of the process?
Wild. Well, I'll say it that way. It's very interesting because I've been helping, as you guys all very, very well said, I've been pushing other people, trying to help them get their projects out, and to now be in a position where I'm the one speaking and I'm, camera facing, as it were, and it's my project. It's kind of surreal. I mean, it's been 3 years in the making to make this project, and I mean, for better or for worse, my co-creator Simone Ragazzoni, he's Italian, so he doesn't speak English, so I kind of have to carry the flag, so to speak, in terms of promotion and getting the word out there. So it's awesome, it's amazing. I get to talk about something I'm super passionate about, and I get to meet new people like yourself, Kory. So I'm very excited to be here and just share, get the word out there for Marcus Walker.
That's awesome to hear, and it is very cool that you're able to do what you've done so far and that you have finally kind of transitioned over to this. That's a very big decision to make, going from one end to the other. Now, Phil, obviously probably the next in line of the Kaiju fans in this podcast. Phil, what was your question that you had for him?
Yeah, it's also so funny just to kind of go back to that first time we talked with you, Chris, and you were just, remember, Eric, Chris was so, humble, even though he had such an important role to play in that project. He's like, don't ask me, talk to these guys.
He literally was
nah,
like,
Chris, you're pretty important here.
He literally was like, maybe don't ask me too many questions, and I think we involved him on every one just out of spite.
Yeah, so obviously not going to be able to escape that here today, because we are focusing on what you have going on here, which is so very exciting. So like Kory alluded to, when it comes to these fandoms, we're big fans of kaiju. Kory has really put us on to like Ultraman and things like that. The story is very much described as a mech versus kaiju action, but also a story about trauma, family, self-discovery. How do you find the balance between big fights, big cool fights that people want to see, but also emotional weight that people can get invested in as well?
To answer that question, I think the best answer I can give is kind of how Stan Lee would do his writing. He very much wanted to write stories about family, or, for example, he wanted to write about those 4 family members, moms, dads, sons, daughters. But then he's like, that's not going to be a great sell. Yes, slice of life books are great, but, back in the day, maybe not so much in terms of, exposure and all those things. So he's like, you kind of have to give him the hook. You have to kind of give him the biff, bam, pow, as it were. So, he sent them to space, and then they became the Fantastic Four. He wanted to write a story about a young boy in high school. Then, he got bit by a radioactive spider. So I kind of took that same concept of, I truthfully wanted to write a story about 2 brothers. So to kind of give you guys some more context, when I was at Disney, I worked on the creative acquisitions team, where I was the non-traditional IP person. What that means was I would review anything that was kind of in the geek sphere that wasn't your traditional books, news articles, or podcast geared towards audiobooks, but it was, comic books, video games, board games, anything of that nature, where I'd be like, hey, can we potentially flip this to a streaming service on Disney's platforms? Could we make it something? And so, I did that for about 1.5 years, and I would told my boss, like, hey, after 600, 700 pieces of IP I'm reviewing, like, I feel like I'm kind of missing something. And she's like, well, write it down, figure it out. And so I did just that. I kind of figured out, like, what do I want to do? What do I want to say? Like, because I was thinking of, like, I want to see a story that kind of has the Joseph Campbell-esque hero's journey that kind of ties in Jason Aaron's storytelling with Sean Murphy's art style, but is also kind of this Saturday morning cartoon meets manga. And so to kind of find a way to balance it, I definitely wanted to make sure kaiju fans and mech fans felt like they were being serviced in a very respectful way, because again, like, you kind of have to jump. Josh Williamson says you have to, start straight in the action, like you basically kind of have to go 2 pages in, but then start at that's the beginning. So I really wanted to make sure that it was fun, it was big, it was colorful, and to make sure that other moments still gave it that weight, as you said. So I wanted to put that story about brothers between Marcus and Caleb, but then I also wanted to make sure I paired it. So I think it was just a rhythm of figuring out, hey, this feels like I'm giving you the story. Again, I want readers to potentially read Marcus Walker Kingslayer Protocol, and they fall in love with, who Marcus is, who Caleb is, who Mitzi, Clayton, and Pia are. Like, I want them to understand that this is a world we've kind of built for people to understand. And truthfully, it's just a matter of, like, okay, a few pages here, you kind of get a good chunk of story, and then there needs to be some action, or at least, and that's how I feel, because I'm sure you guys have read or come across comic books where it feels like it's just a bunch of talking heads. Again, no shame, no negative words about that, but for me, I like comics that have a certain rhythm to them, but either in terms of pagination or panel design. And also, I kind of like it when stories don't necessarily tell you everything. Like, specifically our book, we have one narration, and that's only on the beginning of the page. And after that, you experience the book as you read it. Like, we don't tell you anything. You kind of have to piece it together. And so I almost wanted the reader to experience it along with Marcus and how he's going through this story. And so I think just trying to bring that all together as a first-time creator was how I tried to balance it as best I could.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, some of these, the story that I thought that came to mind immediately when we're talking about this, when we're talking about the Kingslayer Protocol, and you're talking about balancing these interesting characters that you were invested in. I immediately think of Pacific Rim, and like, this is a movie like on face value, and this is a movie that didn't really necessarily do too great at the box office because people thought they had it figured out from the get-go. get-go, right? But like Kory and I can speak to the emotional weight of that and being invested in those characters, and we love that you're using the basis and like you said what Stan Lee has done, and all right, here's the story I want to tell about these two characters, but here is also some really cool stuff that's going on here in the world of which these characters live in. So that is really, really great. A moment ago you actually had also mentioned your co-creator, and I think Kory has a question about that.
Yeah, so I get to finally ask a question that I have heard asked many times, and I love hearing the different responses. So you've mentioned Simone Ragazzoni as the one artist you had in mind for this project, and he is listed as the co-creator. So what was it that led you to working with him? How did this come about?
I love that you guys do your homework. I appreciate it so much. Truthfully, it was his Instagram. Like, that's the very obvious answer. I just looked at it because I was, I kind of did the scrolling of Instagram and like ArtStation and, DeviantArt and all those things. And his art just kind of kept popping up as this American style meets, Japanese style, but he's Italian. So it has this kind of unique flair to it all. And it just, I don't know, I just knew he would do the action like perfectly. But one of the best things I've realized is not only did he execute the action, but his character choices and his acting is sublime. Like, again, I want this to be a success, but if I had a secondary objective with this campaign and this book, I really want DC and Marvel to take a look at him, because he's kind of been at the mid-majors for a few years now in terms of Boom Studios and Titan and things like that. But I really believe in my heart of hearts, as someone who's been a tastemaker at various levels in the professional, corporate, creative world, I think he's well past due for his time in the spotlight. Like, he is someone who should be on a Spider-Man or a Batman or any pick your character. I think he is someone who is worthy because he has put in the time and effort, the blood, sweat, and tears, so to speak. Because when people get to finally see this, it's just amazing. I mean, it's so striking, his visuals, that to kind of tie it into the Kickstarter, not be too salesy, we are doing an artist edition where we are going to be highlighting his artistry in full glory. So we're going to be doing a specialty cover with one of our variant cover artists, Sean Murphy, and then we're going to be doing Simone's halftones in full treatment. So I don't really have another answer. I just thought his artwork was amazing, and then luckily once I kind of reached out to him with like a pitch packet, I was like, hey, this is my first time as a creator. I've worked in these fields. What do you think? And he doesn't speak English. So Enzo, his manager, came in and we kind of, talked and had like a back and forth. And Simone basically was like, yeah, let's do it. Like, I would love to work on this project with you. And before you know it, it was here, it was done. And it's been 3 years. And I've realized how fortunate I am where it's been a rather seamless journey together with him, because I mean, I can't recall a time where we argued. I mean, granted, there's the language barrier, and I've had to have, the patience to understand that. I mean, also, my wife is Quebecois, so she speaks French, so I also was learning that whole process. So it's like, okay, is this like an English translation thing, or is this like an Italian thing? So to kind of circle back to your question, I think he has just been the perfect partner, and I can't wait for everyone to see the things he has drawn, because he makes this book work. Like, I would not be here if it were not for him. And so I want to make sure that he gets his flowers, because he deserves them.
So I can attest to that. In checking out the Kickstarter, I also checked out all 3 of the works that were mentioned on there. Macross Rick Hunter, which I was buying the Macross stuff when that started releasing in comic form. So very cool to see him there. And then Power Rangers Universe, I believe. And than the more recent Dune, and you can see the evolution of his work, but also each thing he does is unique in its own way. Now, as far as the crossovers go, you've picked a great artist, because just the few images we get remind me so much of Ultraman's The Rise of Ultraman in Marvel. The insides look very similar to what he's done, so I'm especially hyped for that. Now, another thing that everyone should be hyped for, you mentioned getting some spotlight on him, but Eric was really interested in some of the spotlight put on you.
First and foremost, I definitely want to mention that we know how much this project means to you and the fact that you're going on this creative limb. I mean, you've mentioned, you know, if you were going to die today, you wanted to accomplish two things: marrying your now wife. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Honeymoon in Japan, I heard. Is that how that works?
Yeah, we just got back last week. We were just there. You have done your outstanding work, gentlemen.
Listen, to be fair, you were doing the work. I think you did the interview I listened to on your honeymoon, which was...
I did.
Listen, if that doesn't scream motivation to you guys, I don't know what else does. But that's why I'm so happy about all the praise you're already getting, because the other thing you wanted to accomplish was writing this comic about two brothers and attacking this mech story in a different way, you know, not just focusing on the pilot, but the younger brother of that pilot is such an interesting aspect that I think is appealing as people start to hear about it. And with some of the glowing reviews you're getting already, I mean, I'm going to just read this off as we show some of the images on the video version of this episode from Steven Maeda, the showrunner of the live action One Piece. The review he gave was: Marcus Walker Kingslayer Protocol is a heart-pounding thriller that explores the nature of trauma and the unseen chokehold of the past, a rollicking family adventure with big fights and bigger feels. And I know you put a lot of time, effort, and love into this thing. I'm sure his words had an impact on you. So my question is, with this first issue being completed and the Kickstarter launch right around the corner, what is the biggest thing that you are proud of from this whole journey that's taking you a couple years to get off the ground, and now we're finally here?
Your questions are exceptional, gentlemen, truthfully. The honest, just peel back the curtain answer is the fact that I'm here with you guys. Like, to be able to be lucky enough to have the opportunity to sit on podcasts and do interviews and talk about this. I mean, I truthfully don't know. Like, it was just something I really wanted to do and really wanted to see through. And I wanted to have this on my shelf to be, you know, to see the spine, so to speak, across the shelf, to be right alongside those other stories I've loved. And so I don't want to say like it's to get rich and famous, because it's comics and that hardly ever happens. And I'm not looking to flip it to TV, because I was there. I know how hard it is, and that's not, you don't do this with the hopes of having an extra thing happen. You know, you have to kind of do the thing because you love the thing, and that thing for me was writing this comic. And so to kind of have it all happen now, and it's, you know, I'm in this promotional phase, is kind of surreal. I'm still nervous, if I'm being completely honest. I tried my absolute best to pick a team and of collaborators and partners where I knew that I wanted to, when I back certain things or I look at books, I want to see, you know, the thought, the effort, you know, what is this about? And so I just tried my best to replicate that with, you know, the current situation I'm in. Like, I know how hard it is to ask people to spend their money on things, because comics are $5 now. You know, there's streaming, there's video games, there's everything under the sun, let alone, you know, their own personal lives and politics and all those things. And so when I got to this point, I just wanted to make sure that whoever wanted to take a chance on me and my team and what we've created, I want them to feel like they were going to be getting the best we could give them. Like, we thought of the marketing, we thought of, you know, money's tight, so we're offering tiers where you can get it digitally, you can get it, you know, cheap. You can get a cover from Sean Murphy for $20 or for Rob Gilroy, and these are Eisner winners, New York Times bestsellers. And so we really tried our best to think of everybody in this regard, because there are collectors. So if you think that all the variant covers are something you want, you know, we're going to offer a discount. You know, we're not offering metal covers or foil covers or t-shirts, not because we have anything against them, but just I personally don't buy them, so I wouldn't feel right asking someone else to buy that. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted it to be something where it's about the story, it's about the art, and it's kind of this, if you see it and you get it, like, it was made for you. Like, that was kind of the vibe, for a lack of a better word. And so to circle back to your question, I think to be in this position where I'm starting to see people react to it in the way that I had hoped for them, and they're saying such wonderful things about me and Simone, like, I don't know how to feel, to be completely honest, because it's all brand new to me. Like, I've never been in this position, and I'm just grateful that it's finally happening, and I'm just trying to take it in stride as best I can.
Yeah, and I know, Phil, we are very envious watching people make that leap sometimes in that creative field, where I know you and me sometimes can be reserved. Like, we talk about all the time, like, we should have made this jump earlier. We should have made this jump earlier. And Chris, is somebody who is looking at work and in a way judging it, and to now put your work out there for the world to judge, envious, but also maybe not so much. Like, I totally get the anxiety that builds up with that. But you got like so much great stuff just on the surface here, and we're just so excited to continue to dive into that with this Kickstarter and being supporters ourselves. But there's so many people within this fandom, Phil. I mean, there's fandoms for days that I think would love a project like this one.
100%. And you know, when you said, first off, you know, just dating back to, again, when we first got to work with you, and to kind of touch on what you were just speaking about, from starting off with Frost Road, and then you putting us in touch with Gungnir, and then where we are now. We just know that whenever your email comes through, we're excited for whatever project that is going to be. So during this process, as you continue to do more interviews, as you have some other appearances coming up, you know, big conventions and things like that, I do hope you take a moment. I can speak for the three of us. You do take a moment and soak it all in and just really appreciate what you're doing here. It's a big deal. So we're so excited and happy to give you your flowers here today, as I'm sure everybody that you're speaking with during this run will tell you. So we also would love to talk about some of your inspirations and fandoms. That's what we do here at the Wait For It podcast and The World Is My Burrito. So the series has been pitched as perfect for fans of, as we mentioned, Ultraman Rising, Big Hero 6, Power Rangers. So what were some of your biggest inspirations growing up?
So the best answer I can give is that I am a 90s kid, for better or for worse, and I cannot shake it. I am, you know, Batman Returns, TMNT, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, the TV show. I mean, those were kind of my touchstones of fandom growing up. And then just, you know, VHS tapes of all the Disney classics, you know, between either the animated ones, you know, like Aladdin, Nightmare Before Christmas, even though that was Touchstone back in the day, and then also like Homeward Bound, just very much like the stories where they entertained you, but you also learned something underneath. I think those are the things I always kept coming back to, and I'm sure it's probably what inspired or kind of infused itself into that narrative I'm creating with Simone. So I think those are the big like fandoms. And then as I got older, I definitely like got into video games. I'm a huge Kingdom Hearts guy. I platinumed Kingdom Hearts 3, and that's a big one. I was into trading card games for a while, but it just didn't speak to me. I couldn't keep up. Those things are so expensive, you know, like there's a new set every other week or every other day, even in like the early aughts. And so I think my other fandoms that I'm still passionate about to this day, like comics, has to be, you know, film, but also music. I'm a huge metalhead. I do have passion for a lot of music, and I'm open to all of it, but I really found a home in metal and core and deathcore and rock and roll and all those things, like Warped Tour and things like that. So also to kind of tie those in together, those fandoms, because one of the things I realized through this little journey of mine is that I would write the issue to a playlist, and sometimes that's not like a normal thing, because some people are like, oh, we listen to like soundtracks, or we listen to symphonic scores or something like that. I actually listened to metal. I was listening to it because there was a certain energy and rhythm I wanted to potentially translate that into the book. So, you know, I would listen to Beartooth, Bring Me the Horizon, Memphis May Fire, Ice Nine Kills, things like that.
Beartooth.
Yes, and so there will be an Easter egg, because again, not to spoil anything, there will be at least 2 Easter eggs for you if you're a Beartooth fan. One will be very obvious because the older brother's name is Caleb, and it's spelt with a K. I tried to write with that kind of energy and emotion, and Simone kind of, you know, ran with it in the best way. So that's a very long-winded answer of saying, you know, the classic 90s comics and then video games and music is kind of what are my biggest fandoms.
Love the Homeward Bound shout out too. We don't hear enough about Homeward Bound, man. God,
I mean, when Shadow comes back, spoilers.
Through the woods.
Like, yeah, like tell me, like you are crying. If you are not crying,
gets those porcupine quills stuck in his. Oh man, just it's cinema, man. It's cinema.
Relax. I'm a professional.
Phil, he threw some classics out aside. Before we transition, I wanted to just quickly ask, because we had actually talked on the Frost Road episode. Listening back to it, you had been recently hooked on Balatro the last time that we had talked. Are there any obsessions going on right now these days with how busy you are dealing with this project? Like, just kind of adding on to Phil's question, anything that you're obsessed about these days.
So that is interesting. I am on the verge of teetering on Claire Obscura 33. I want to play it because I just finished Ghost of Tsushima, the first one, and I played through that in Japanese. And as we said, my wife is French, she is Quebecois, so I want to play Claire Obscura in French. So not only can I learn, because I'm struggling to learn, I have terrible French, but that's one of the things I'm teetering, because I know I have that personality. It's like, if I start playing, I'm not going to stop, and I'm going to just play it, and nothing's going to get done. So when I finally have a moment, I'm going to do that. But the kind of cheesy, corny answer is me and my wife, we are diehard Mario Kart players, and so whether it's we're racing to see who washes dishes or on a plane, it's us like trash talking each other and playing Mario Kart.
I was about to say, it's either going to break up the relationship or make it stronger.
I mean, luckily I think that's one of the greatest things, again, not to change subjects too much, but one of the greatest things I've realized is that the fact that I was fortunate enough to be with someone and to fall in love with someone who keeps playing. I think that's a great thing when you can find a partner, whoever they may be, and you can still keep that sense of play. I mean, granted, I'm only 4 years into this wonderful thing, but I think that's something, if I can keep with it, where we can be serious but also have fun and still, like, enjoy each other's company and, talk smack at the same time of playing Mario Kart. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I think it definitely makes it stronger for sure.
I'm with you though on that, and just committing that time, because I just beat Ghost of Yotei, which is the follow up to Tsushima, which was fantastic.
So better, worse? Which one do you prefer?
Tsushima is better narrative wise, but Yotei is still outstanding. I sunk 50 hours into it, and gonna probably play through it again on New Game Plus, and it's outstanding. So yeah, definitely worth it once you get to that. But Claire Obscure, also fantastic.
Did you play in Japanese or in English?
I play through on the first run through. I go through in English, and then usually in the second run through, I do the Kurosawa mode because it's just gorgeous. It's beautiful. So that does return in Yotei, so you can have that.
Amazing, because that's how I played the game strictly in that mode. So yeah. I just went full cinema. Like, let me just soak in it and live in that world. So
yeah, the sub and the dub performances are both excellent. So yeah, when you do get to Yotei, you have another really great story. Sucker Punch is on a roll right now. So but to get back over to Kory, I know Kory has another question for you here coming up.
All right, so there is no wrong answer for this. I'm going to start off with that. Okay. But if you could make an appearance in any kaiju, mech, or toku franchise, this can be film, TV series, manga, anime, American, Japanese, whatever, what franchise would you pick and what would the role be?
No wrong answer, but endless possibilities.
Yes, exactly.
That is the catch.
I think, I don't want to say Power Rangers because that's not the answer. Like, that's the obvious one, but that's not the one I want to go with. I think the one series that really cemented my love for mecha was probably Mobile G Gundam, like the Toonami back in the day.
Boy.
Because I had the toys, in like Endless Waltz, I had those toys, and between, like, why does this giant robot have wings in space? Like, it makes no sense, but I love it, and it's awesome. And I think with the G Gundam, I love the fact that these Gundam mechs looked like their culture. Like, I thought that was the coolest thing. Like, the Russian one, I thought was the coolest thing, that his shoulders would pop out and it would be like almost like a ball and chain. And it was just kind of, the stereotypical Russian accent, but it was like, that's so cool. And then to see like heavy arms with these giant machine guns. I don't know if I'd be a pilot. I mean, I would love to say, because you always want to be like the cool person, but I would definitely be involved somehow. I don't know if maybe it's like a fixer, like like some type of like mech aid, or like or whatever. I'm at a loss for words. I think it's a repairer. That's probably what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Obvious word I missed. But yeah, I'd probably be like a mechanic, if not a pilot. I think that would probably be Mobile G Gundam mechanic. I think that's the answer I'd give.
That is a great answer. There are a couple of Gundam, well, plenty more now, where the mechanics have very big roles. So no, that would be awesome to see. So That's our one step away, but now taking it back to your project. Eric, you gotta help us out, man. How the heck do people learn about this, find out about this?
Yeah, so listen, Chris, I know this is the part you hate the most, but this is the salesy part. You have to tell the people, right. And I'm gonna help you. Tell the people how they can support this great project. So before we wrap up, how can you, the audience, make this project a huge success? Well, just start off by clicking Notify Me on the Kickstarter pre-launch page. If you're listening to this before launch, there's going to be digital rewards included to all backers. And on March 4th, you can officially back this project. You can help cover printing, fulfillment, shipping expenses, and that's all before an estimated summer 2026 delivery. So, Chris, people may be wondering about things like stretch goals, exclusives. How long do they have to back the Kickstarter? What's included? Whatever you can talk about, please let us know what we can eagerly await for on launch day.
Absolutely. So to kind of wrap it up really nicely is that this is a premium version of Marcus Walker Kingslayer Protocol. We are doing this oversized 48 deluxe edition because when we originally wrote it, it was 12 issues. It's very decompressed. And then we quickly realized, hey, if we're going to do it ourselves, we have to be very mindful, very intentful on what we want to do. So we kind of narrowed it down to 6 issues. And then we're like, okay, how can we make sure that we offer fans or potential backers something that's really unique and special? And so we decided to do these oversized kind of, not one-offs, but you get a very meaty story as if it were. And so as of right now, these versions will only be on Kickstarter. If we're so fortunate enough to fund and get more books done, and if, let's say, a publisher comes and they want to, take it on, we've actually written these oversized issues to be able to be broken up into 2. So like the first 21 or 2 or something like that. So then you get 2 separate issues. So this is technically 2 issues in one, but this is the version, this is the story we want to tell. And some stretch goals. We're not going to be adding anything that needs to be made because everything is done. So what we're going to be doing is potentially doing upgrading cover stock, maybe giving back matter, maybe some UV spot. We essentially want to just make the item more premium because we don't want to, distract people with more stuff potentially because we want the story to be the story. And some other things they can look forward to are, like I said, variant covers from Sean Murphy, Rob Gilroy, Sia Oyam, and Kevin Keane. And a nice little tip, Kevin Keane, I brought him on board to do a cover because he will be doing my next project. So it's all in the family. And then they can also look for, like I said earlier, the artist edition, which is basically a black and white kind of manga homage with Sean Murphy. And again, that's the only way you can get Sean Murphy's black and white cover is with our artist edition. And if you feel like you want 1, 2, or a bunch of stuff, we're going to offer some bundles so you can hopefully save some cash too if you really do want to support us. And then some of our higher tiers, Simone is actually going to be offering commissions. So if someone wants to get a character drawn by him, he will be doing that. We're going to be offering some original artwork, which I'm still split on because I love these pages, but we're doing it. And then Simone is going to be offering the actual cover to the variant for fans who potentially want it. And I think that's it. And before we go, we're going to be at MegaCon Orlando, and we are going to be offering potentially an ash can. Again, don't hold me to it, but I'll share with everybody on this. We're hopefully going to be doing an artist edition ash can. We might do color, but we're thinking about doing an ash can that is a special preview of the issue with some exclusive back matter. And I think we're going to do the Sean Murphy cover, and Sean Murphy's going to be doing a signing at MegaCon Orlando, so we're fingers crossed going to see if we can swing some type of special event if possible, but worst case, fans can come meet us in person there and get an exclusive.
Kickstarter isn't the only place you might be able to get some Marcus Walker material, but it is going to be where you can get the coolest. And it is where a lot of people I tend to see, the more people that support to a project, it leads to the success, but also to the success of the people that are buying into it and the payoffs that they get. I know we are very excited to contribute to that as well. And Phil, I mean, just again, another ballpark, knocked out of the ballpark hit.
Yeah, this was great to catch up with you, Chris, and we're excited to also, we will be at MegaCon as well in some capacity. We'll have to take a picture together and
Absolutely.
And commemorate the moment, so very, very excited, and again, cannot wait to see what is next for this project, for everybody to hear about it. Also, while we wrap up, I do want to shout out Kory. Thank you so much for collabing with us. This was a whole lot of fun, of course, getting to work with you in this sort of capacity. Did you have any other questions for Chris before we wrap up?
I don't have any remaining questions. I do just want to say, like, I am very excited for this. I wasn't aware that it existed until they sent me the information about it. Saw just the thumbnail alone. I was like, I'm already pretty sold. And you're working with Sean Murphy, and he's kind of one of the reasons I got into American comics. Big fan of Tokyo Ghost. So it's very cool that you have him doing covers, but I will just reiterate to those of you out there who have not seen Simone Ragazzoni's work, I heavily recommend that you check it out. At least, his work is visual. So look at the visuals. You don't have to read everything, but look at it. It's great stuff. And if that doesn't hype you up for what's to come, well, you're crazy. This is a very exciting project that I'm just kind of mad that it's not already. I'll tell you, that was the most upsetting part, is them sending me that Kickstarter link, looking through it, and I'm like, but where do I
can't
give
read
money?
it now?
Yeah, wait, it's a Kickstarter. Why can't I give money?
Well, that's awesome, guys. I mean, before we wrap up, I know we're wrapping up, but I just want to say, Kory, it was a pleasure to meet you on this, and this was great. Truthfully, thank you for being a part of it. And Eric and Phil, thank you again for having me on. You are building something truly fun and unique, and the fact is, you guys have done your homework, and you have really made me feel special. Like, I say this not to blow smoke or be corny, but it's just the honest truth. The fact is, you are so gracious with your time to allow me to be on your show and to kind of have the trust in me to take these leaps and interview these people, and now interviewing myself. I really do want to make it known to you and your listenership that I really do appreciate it, and I'm very grateful for you guys giving me the time.
Absolutely, and thank you for continuing to trust us as well, as we because we got to hold up our end of the deal. But you and again, all the projects you've brought to us have made that very, very easy. So before we get Eric in to wrap up in our closing, please again let everybody know where they can find you, as well as any updates to this project and anything else you want to mention as your final words.
Yeah, so if you want to follow me and kind of Marcus Walker Kingslayer Protocol, I mean, for me specifically, it's CYG47. Those are like all my socials. My website is crushyourgoals.com, and please check out Simone Ragazzoni. Those are all his handles as well. And if you're interested about the project, it's on Kickstarter, Marcus Walker Kingslayer Protocol. And thank you so much for the time.
Yeah, and again, Chris, thank you so much for everything. We cannot tell you any longer how excited we are. We're going to continue, though, to tell you, shout it off the rooftops. And I hope you guys go out of your way to support this project. I know that if you're listening before March 4th, as I mentioned before, you can support the project simply by clicking the notify me on the Kickstarter pre-launch page, but by sharing the Kickstarter and this episode to others who may be interested, didn't know about this project. There are a lot of fandoms that would love something like this. That means if you're listening after March 4th, consider backing Marcus Walker Kingslayer Protocol. We are going to be putting our dollars behind this, and we hope that you do as well. But that has been the end of our feature episode here with our guest, Chris Yates. Thank you guys so much for joining us. My name is Mr. Eric Almighty. That is my co-host, Phil Filipino. Shout out again to Kory from The World Is My Burrito for joining us on this very special episode. And we'll see you guys on the next one. All you have to do is wait for it.
This is the Wait For It podcast.